All right, let's not forget about Georgia. Despite losing the Sugar Bowl to Texas unexpectedly, one of the top programs in the country, and bringing in another magnificent haul for the recruiting cycle of 2019 with National Signing Day just a few days away, and Georgia in great shape right now and looking to get even better. We got Savannah Lee Richardson on the line from Southbound and Down. I got it. I'm down with it. It's good.
Yeah.
It's all good. So what do you got going on there, Savannah?
Well, I recently accepted the position to be their expert for the site, which means that I am covering all 14 SEC schools in football, basketball, and baseball. So my plate just quadrupled in size from just doing UGA to now getting to cover all of the SEC. So hopefully some of your listeners will appreciate me that UGA homer.
So maybe in the future, you're not going to wear a Georgia sweatshirt when you're coming on the show. I don't know that you still can. Obviously, that's your alma mater. That's your school. That's your pride and joy. I'll probably also quiz you on who plays inside linebacker for Arkansas or left guard for Vanderbilt. I'll be asking you those kind of questions.
Wait until like a little more into the off season, so I've had time to learn everybody's depth charts. But no, I'm actually wearing Georgia because Kirby Smart issued a statement on Twitter yesterday to wear red and black for a kid who lost his life, little Harrison. So I kind of joined into the movement today, I guess, across Bulldog Nation, and just decided to, usually I try not to wear anything Georgia, but I decided to today to represent the little boy. So
Absolutely. I did not hear about that, but sounds like a tragic and sad situation. All right, let's move on to the Georgia recruiting front. Number 2 in the nation, number 2 in the SEC. We can all guess who's number 1 without looking it up. 14 have already enrolled at the university, and so that's the highest number I've seen, Savannah. I've talked to probably 25 to 30 broadcasters and bloggers, writers about their particular teams. I've done previews on the recruiting cycle for, about 25 or 30 teams. That's the highest number I've seen. 14 already enrolled, 8 signed, and we've got 1 hard commit. That's the 247 rankings right now at number 2 in the country. So just a few days left. We know the class is going to be amazing regardless of what happens over the next few days, but what could happen to make it even that much better?
Well, I think the coaching staff has really focused in on grabbing another tight end since Isaac Nada has decided to declare for the draft, and Luke Ford entered the transfer portal and ended up at Illinois. So they're probably going to end up going for 1 tight end to finish off the class, and I believe it's going to be Brett Seither. Todd Hartley, the new tight ends coach, has been to see him. Most of the coaching staff has made visits, and I think he's also came to a visit at UGA as well. And so he's going to be like the prime tight end target left on the map. If we don't go there, we may end up picking up 1 or 2 more in the secondary if there's room. Kaiir Elam and Nick Cross are probably the 2 top guys left out there. Georgia did just pull Florida's defensive back coach Charlton Warren, who was Elam's primary recruiter at Florida. So that was a great pull for the Bulldogs in a sense of getting back in track with him. As for Nick Cross, I really like Nick Cross. He's a total safety, just very big and bulky, and he sees the football field so well. And I would love to be able to plug him away or take him away from FSU, but that seems a little bit further than Elam is right now. But Georgia's also probably there's probably 3 spots I would say that are left and for Wednesday for National Signing Day, and that'd probably be a secondary player, a tight end, and then a wide receiver. Depending on how the day goes, it may end up being 2 D-backs, 1 tight end, it varies. But I saw where one of my guys told me that Kirby Smart went to Mississippi on Wednesday. I'm thinking he's probably hanging out with Jonathan Mingo, getting in that guy's ear. And then there's also Mark Anthony Richards, who has been to campus and has said a lot of good things about Georgia. And then George Pickens, who has been a long-time Auburn commit. Then he started kind of leaning towards Georgia, but he has great issues. Ended up having to go the JUCO route before actually coming to a Division I school. But other than that, Georgia's pretty set in their class, and I believe, like you said, the 14 that are already there are already working out with the team and doing their whatever that they can do right now, I guess you can say.
Yeah, to be able to get those many guys in the door that early and to get them acclimated to campus, student life, and then working out with the football team with the advanced workout strength and conditioning program at a place like Georgia is, I think, a huge advantage. I talked to UCLA football just yesterday, and they've got none enrolled. That's the first time I've seen that out of the 25 or 30 teams. That's not a good sign in regards to getting these guys in shape and supplementing the roster with freshmen in the fall and getting those guys prepared to play some football. So we've talked the recruiting class a few times, but once again, as you look through what's the number 2 class in the nation, Savannah, who stands out to you? Who do you love? Who may be a little bit under the radar, maybe not at the top of the list, but you really see something on tape or heard some scouting reports that you really like?
My favorite target in the entire 2019 class for Georgia was Nakobe Dean. Just the way he carries himself and how intelligent he is on and off of the field. He really excites me. He also looks like a mini Roquan Smith when you watch his film. He's really instinctive. I think he could also push for some early playing time at Georgia just at that inside linebacker position because there's Patrick and a couple other guys there, and they'll be looking for someone to really take over and be a leader. I think he could do it. It may take him a little bit to get the playbook and everything, but with him wanting to actually go into pre-med and be a doctor, I have to think that he can learn a playbook pretty quickly. I'm really excited about the running back that came in. Kenny Mack is probably one of the more under-the-radar guys, in my opinion. I think he runs hard. He may not have the fastest 40 time. We talked about this before, but the way he runs and his instincts and able to see holes on the field is what really stands out. He also can catch the ball really well, which is probably what Georgia will be using him for until they can, cycle through some of all these running backs that they already have there. But those two guys are probably my two to look out for in Georgia's 2019 class for right now anyway. And
Kenny
I'm surprised that I didn't say
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I said, and aren't you surprised I didn't just say Nolan Smith like probably everybody else would have?
Yes, if you want me to say I'm surprised, Savannah. I'm surprised. All right, Kenny McIntosh is the 11th rated running back in the nation out of Fort Lauderdale, according to 247 Sports. And then we've got, of course, as you mentioned, Nakobe Dean, who is an inside linebacker, the top-rated player in the state of Mississippi out of Horn Lake, Mississippi, a high school I covered a way long time ago, one of a zillion out there in Mississippi. And he's the number 2 rated inside linebacker in the country. So high-level stuff there as Kirby Smart continues to bring in the wealth of riches in terms of young talent. Talk about molding these guys, of course, comes down to the coaching staff, and it seems as though no coaching staff across the country is immune to changes because guys get scarfed up, they leave, they go with it's just a domino effect in regards to all the guys that get fired at the head coaching spot, get hired to replace them, and then bring guys along with them, and then it creates openings. And we've got quite a shuffle even within just the SEC Eastern Division between Georgia, Tennessee, Florida involved, and some other teams as well outside the conference, of course. So, Savannah, if you can catch us up to speed on where Georgia stands in regards to filling out its coaching staff.
They hired Charlton Warren from Florida, who is the defensive back coach, as the defensive back coach for UGA. He is an excellent recruiter from Atlanta, so he knows the state of Georgia really well, and that's one of Kirby Smart's biggest emphasis is, locking down the state of Georgia, getting those big guys from the state and just making sure that they come home and stay home. He's a great guy. He's very fiery, has a lot of passion when he comes to on the field, just like Kirby Smart and a lot of the other defensive guys that you see him already have on staff. And then he also added Todd Hartley from Miami as the tight end coach, which I really like as well. I believe he's from Atlanta or the Atlanta area as well. I'm not exactly sure if he was a grad assistant or something at Georgia, but I know he has some kind of ties with UGA, and I really like him too because he's young. I'm all about Kirby Smart building this young staff full of guys that are fiery, wanting to earn their spot in college football, and they're doing it with some of the greatest athletes that Georgia has ever gotten to bring into the program. We still don't have a defensive coordinator announced yet, but I'm leaning towards that he's probably going to end up promoting Dan Lanning or Glenn Schumann to either co-defensive coordinators or picking one or the other over and letting them take control of the entire defense. So there's a more movement on the defensive side of the ball than there is necessarily for Georgia. And how can I forget Georgia promoting James Coley to the offensive coordinator, which I really liked, even though I was kind of pushing for Mike Bobo to come back for the job, even though, you know, he's coaching at Colorado State. I know, but a girl can wish, because I would love to see a Mike Bobo offense with these kind of players.
Yeah, once you get the head coaching position, it's tough to pull yourself back to become a coordinator, even if it is at a higher level school. So Mike Bobo doing a decent job at Colorado State. They're not necessarily tearing it up. They're doing what they've done in the past, which is probably be a mid-level group of 5 team that gets to postseason play most of the time and churns out a lot of 7 and 8 win type seasons.